All right, let's talk about something huge. There is a ticking time bomb at the very heart of our digital world, and it's called the quantum threat. We're going to break down what that means for blockchain and look at the one project that's been built from the ground up to be the arc in the coming storm.
Just let that sink in for a moment. This sentence nails the problem perfectly. We're not talking about a small crack in security here. We are talking about a fundamental leap in computing power that could literally melt the entire system down.
You know, for the longest time, the quantum threat felt like something out of science fiction, a problem for our kids or grandkids to solve. But the reality is, the countdown has already started, and it is ticking a whole lot faster than most people think. What's wild here is just how quickly this ramps up. By 2025, that's right around the corner, we hit the yellow zone. Data harvesting becomes a serious issue. Just 3 years after that, the very cryptographic foundations of Bitcoin and Ethereum are in danger. And by 2032, we're in the red. These legacy chains become, well, trivially easy to break. This isn't some far-off problem anymore. The clock is ticking, now.
And this number, this is what's on the line. Over $2 trillion in digital assets, all of it basically held hostage by a single scientific breakthrough. This isn't just a technical challenge. It's an economic threat on a scale that's hard to even wrap your head around.
So how exactly does this thermal lance cut through the steel safe? Well, the vulnerability is actually baked into the very foundation of how our crypto wallets work. And believe it or not, it's surprisingly easy to understand.
Okay, so just picture your crypto wallet like your house. Your public key, that's your street address. You give it to people so they can send you mail, or in this case, crypto. It's meant to be public. But your private key? Well, that's the actual key to your front door. You would never, ever share that with anyone. Now, in the world we live in today, the pre-quantum world, that private key is safe because it's hidden inside an incredibly complex mathematical maze. It's practically impossible for today's computers to find your key just by looking at your address. But in a post-quantum world, a special algorithm called Shor's algorithm acts like a perfect GPS. You just give it the address, and it instantly calculates the direct path to the key. Game over.
And this brings us to the most immediate and kind of scary threat. It's called the Harvest Now, Decrypt Later attack. Bad actors don't actually need a quantum computer today. All they need to do is record public blockchain data, which is super cheap to do. They store it, they wait, and the second a powerful quantum computer comes online, they run Shor's algorithm and drain everything. So this isn't a future attack. The harvesting part is happening right now.
So, let's play this out for a second. Let's really imagine what happens on the day this cryptographic dam finally breaks. It's not going to be a slow decline. It's going to be a sudden, catastrophic event, a kind of cryptographic D-Day.
Picture this exact moment. Let's put a pin in the calendar. October 17th, 2031. A powerful quantum computer, let's call it Willow 2.0, successfully runs Shor's algorithm on Bitcoin's core cryptography. It only takes 13 minutes. And just like that, the dam is broken. The fallout is immediate and total. In the very first hour, nearly 5 million Bitcoin are just gone. Central bank digital currencies are compromised. The entire DeFi ecosystem is drained dry. Global markets freeze, stablecoins depeg, and any kind of digital identity built on-chain becomes completely worthless. It's a full-scale meltdown. And here is the most terrifying part of this whole scenario. Once those private keys are calculated, they're out there. They're public knowledge forever. There is no patch. There's no fix. You cannot put this genie back in the bottle. The damage is permanent.
Okay, that was pretty bleak, but what if you could build an ark before the flood even started? This is where things get really interesting, because that's the whole idea behind UTON. It's not a blockchain that's trying to patch itself for a quantum future. It was designed from day one to be immune to it. This table just lays it all out perfectly. Look at a classical chain. Every single layer, from your account to how nodes talk to each other to how they vote, it all relies on old cryptography that we know is vulnerable. Now look at UTON. They've gone through, piece by piece, and systematically reinforced or replaced every single one of those weak points with new, quantum-resistant standards. It is a full-stack defense.
Look, being quantum safe is great, but it's useless if the chain is slow, expensive, or impossible for anyone to actually build on. And UTON's creators knew this. They set out to deliver top-tier security without compromising on everything else that makes a blockchain great.
UTON's design is built on these 5 brilliant pillars. They use something called Dual-Track Cryptography, which is like having 2 separate quantum-safe systems for maximum security. Then, and this is a huge deal for developers, it has an EVM time machine, which means you can bring your existing apps right over, no new coding languages required. It's also built to meet government-grade security certifications from the get-go. It delivers incredible performance, and maybe coolest of all, its economic model is actually designed to pay for its own security. It's just a really complete, thoughtful approach.
And when we say performance, we are not kidding. UTON can handle over 100,000 transactions per second. This just completely shatters the myth that adding quantum safety means you have to sacrifice speed. Turns out, you can have both.
And that performance advantage also means it's cheaper. See, because UTON builds all this security into its base layer, it doesn't need the complex, expensive overhead that a lot of Layer 2s have. And the result for you, the user? More predictable and just plain lower gas fees. And this isn't just some abstract tech looking for a problem to solve. We're talking about major, real-world sectors that absolutely depend on long-term data security. Things like central bank digital currencies, tokenized assets, supply chain management. These are industries that can't afford to have their data decrypted 10 years from now. They need the security today.
So, we've covered the technological threat, but there is another countdown happening right alongside it, the regulatory one. The window to get ahead of this is closing fast because governments are already starting to force the change. Just look at these dates. This year, the U.S. government is finalizing the new quantum-resistant standards. By 2026, they start auditing for them. By 2027, the EU is officially labeling this tech as critical. The writing is on the wall. This is quickly moving from being a smart idea to being a requirement.
So what does all this mean for you? Well, if you're a developer, becoming quantum immune could literally be as simple as forking your app. For big companies, this is about getting ahead of the data sovereignty laws that are inevitably coming. And for investors, this is about taking a foundational position in the technology that the entire world will eventually have to adopt.
In the end, it all comes back to this. UTON is designed to fix the fatal flaw of today's blockchains. The public address no longer gives away the private key. It's a fundamental shift built to protect value in the post-quantum world. The arc is real, and it's here.
So we'll leave you with this final thought. The quantum singularity, that moment when quantum computers change everything, it's coming. That's not really up for debate anymore. The only question left is, will your assets be ready for it? Will they be on the arc?